So today I want to reframe how you think about your marketing. And I think this will be the key to the future of all of us doing well. And there's a couple key messages. Video is your funnel, not your funnel that's made up of videos. I'll explain what that means with different triggers along the way that gate people along paths that they take. So the algorithm is able to push content based on how they interact and what they say, and your ability to collect information along the way in different videos. And another point is how relevancy is absolutely key and how that can be calculated and how that ties back to every single other channel, whether it's email or search engines or social media. So let me step back almost 20 years. When we ran ads, let's say Google ads, you had a quality score, and the quality score Google would show you at the keyword level, and it was on a scale of 1 to 10, and the better your relevance score, if you had an 8 versus a 4, you would pay half as much for that traffic, assuming you had the same bid. And if someone else had half your relevance score, they'd have to bid twice as much to get that same traffic. So your relevance score times your bid was your ad rank for a lot of you guys, and it still is the case for you folks that know about PPC, buying ads on search engines. It was the same thing for us when I was at Yahoo. We calculated something called the quality index. The quality index was something we showed at the ad level, and a lot of people were like, well, why is that different? Or they didn't even know why it's different. It's because the quality index or relevance score or quality score is the intersection between content and targeting. So it wasn't at the ad level and it wasn't at the targeting level, it was at the intersection. And the better for search, the better your quality index, which is Yahoo, or the better your quality score, which is Google, then the less you would pay and the better your ads would perform, of course. If you're paying 1/5 the price because your quality score is a 10, like on your branded terms, versus a 2, maybe you're buying someone else's term or you're buying a broad match term or a very general head term, then you just wouldn't be doing as well. Now imagine, what is it that goes into the calculation of today's quality score on Google, and why that's so important to us as marketers when you understand what the search engine's thinking? The number one factor in quality score, you guys know, is your CTR, because a high CTR is a good proxy for relevance. And people are clicking on it, then it somehow must tie to them. So if you get like a 10% CTR, which usually means you're in the first or second position on search, then people are like, wow, this might be neat. But it's also looking at landing page factors, it's looking at the keywords you're using, it's looking at other user experience factors, right? Because the search engine's trying to think, how do I know that something's relevant? Not just clickbait enough to get someone to click on it, but they actually end up having a good experience. And how do you measure good experiences along the way? Do they buy? So they're looking at Google Analytics data, right? Now how does that apply to social? So if you look at Facebook and their relevance score. Now Facebook, of course, by now when you're watching this, they've probably gotten rid of relevance score and replaced it with 3 different factors. It's the same thing. So if you ask yourself, what does relevance mean? It's, does it apply to me or to whoever that user is? And you could make the best content in the world, but if it's not relevant, then relevant to that particular user, it doesn't matter. So good content but the wrong target is low relevance. Or you could have the right target but the wrong content, and that's going to be low relevance. So you need great content against a particular user that needs to see that content. Here's something that throws most marketers, because they don't know how to build sequences. So they're trying to sell cold traffic, people that they've never met, people that haven't consumed content along the way in sequence. And you could have something that's absolutely fantastic, but it actually belongs 3 or 4 messages deep in a sequence. So it isn't that the content is bad, it's that it's not something you would say to someone as a first step, which would be like a pickup line, right? Someone who doesn't understand sequences is going to walk into a bar, meet a woman they've never talked to before, and try their best pickup line to try to get them in bed. But if you and I, where we're being smarter about this, understand that high relevance along the way, multiple steps, means getting to know them, right? Getting their name, going on a first date, going on multiple dates, first kiss, all the way to propose, get married, have kids, all those things. And there's something relevant to say at every step along the way. And if you believe that modern marketing for anybody, whether it's high-end B2B or even selling simple products and services, requires building multiple touches, then how many of your touches are going to be a first touch, and how many of your touches are going to be second or more? And I would argue that 80% or more of your touches are going to be 2 or more. It's not going to be a cold touch, which is your first touch. Therefore, to have high relevance, most of your targeting is going to be driven by what they last did with you. Therefore, retargeting. So if you think about retargeting as what they last did with you, if they came to my website and filled out a form, then I'm going to send them this email. If they just became a fan on Facebook or filled out a lead form, then this. If they're an existing customer, then this is what I'm going to say. Or if, based on data that LinkedIn has, that their job title is this, and they've never been to my website and have never been a customer, then here's what I might say is the first touch. If inside a video, I ask them, are you, let's say, trying to grow your agency and you're just getting started, or are you someone, you have an existing agency and you're trying to grow it, right? Which of these paths describes you? Imagine that's the beginning of an agency training video, and instead of saying, hey, here's all the different situations of who you might be and trying to cover that in a 1-hour video, we cut that down to an intro that says, hey, welcome to my agency management course. But first, before we get started, which of these is you? And you answer that, and then let's say you answer, oh, I'm just getting my agency started. And then you say, great, I remember when I first got started, here's 2 or 3 things that I remember. And then a few seconds later, or maybe a few minutes later, you ask them another question. You say, hey, are you, or how strong is your personal brand? I don't really have one yet, or I have most of these different elements, right? Let's say that they select, oh, I'm a public figure, I have a book out, I've done public speaking, I'm doing well, I just want to take it to the next level. Awesome, that's so good that you have these pieces. Here's what we're going to do next. Or it could be if they answered that they're building their personal brand, but they don't have a speaker reel, for example, then you can actually address that directly and say, yeah, that's cool. Or, you've spoken before, but you need a speaker reel. Here are the items that you're going to need. And you can start to coach them. And it's just like a regular conversation you have with anybody else, where there's interactivity based on what they last said. And imagine how much more powerful it is when you have engagement at that level. Because when they're engaging, you know that there's a clear correlation between engagement and conversion. So if you have high relevance along the way, you're going to get a lower cost of traffic along the way, and your net cost of conversion across all those touches, even though you have more touches, is going to be less. And that's true with Facebook, for example, because when you're building video remarketing, I've got to change my hand because my left arm is tired. We're in this Model X. It's great. This thing's absolutely insane. This Tesla, you can make videos in here because the electric car is so quiet. You might pay 2 cents, 2 cents, 2 cents to go 3 touches deep for someone who has watched a video 15 seconds plus, or on Facebook, a through play. But you could also sequence, I believe a first touch should actually be a Facebook video. So they watch one of these videos all the way through, or 10 seconds plus, then I try to get them to the website, right, to get their email address. Then I want to send them to an article on another site, it doesn't have to be on mine. Then I want to get them to YouTube. Then I want to get, and there could be any possible number of ways to remarket to them. And by the way, I consider email to be remarketing. I consider any kind of sequence journeys to be remarketing. I consider you could have a light speed video that has many different journeys along the way in that one video. So it's like Bandersnatch. If you haven't seen Bandersnatch, which is a Netflix Black Mirror video, watch that and you'll see what I'm talking about. This will completely change how you think about marketing. Bandersnatch is a choose your own adventure video where you're choosing for the character, oh, do I jump out the window or do I fight? Do I eat the Fruit Loops or the Frosted Flakes? And thus, all of us have a different experience going through Bandersnatch, and thus you can't say, well, the video is 50 minutes long. It could be an hour and a half long, it could be 10 minutes long because you died and chose the wrong thing. And that's how all video needs to be. That's why the funnel is your video. That's why your video is your funnel. Imagine now that inside one video, it could have any range, and inside a single video, you could have any range of possible journeys. Then no longer is it true that you can say, well, this particular video is 5 minutes, and this video is an hour long, and this video is whatever it is. It's whatever length that video is for the journey of the user, right? But how are you going to create these kinds of sequence videos? You can't put that on YouTube. With YouTube, you have playlists with video 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or I guess you could use Wistia and use a turnstile where along the way you're collecting information. But now imagine if you can build your entire funnel into just a single video with all the different gated logics and the ifs, thens, then your marketing you could take that video and embed it on your website. You can embed it anywhere else. You can do a video embed code, and you don't need to use all these ClickFunnels anymore. You don't need to use all these crazy landing page builders. It's simply, I've got a video, I'm continuing to make it more and more complex with more logic, and I'm building engagement along the way. And what used to be maybe a 6 or 8 week conversion process with lots and lots of touches is something you can compress down into one video that has multiple sequences that are built in. I hope that changes the way you think about things. Lightspeed happens to be the best place to make these kinds of interactive videos, not just for training, but for any kind of funnels as well. That's why I'm so excited about Lightspeed. Oh, contact us if you want to spin up a system so we can help you to make a little commission too.